Kim, just talk about what it meant to the team to see Fulkerson and Pons be that productive. They combined for 29 points last night.
It was great. Eve had been playing well. I think since the Missouri game at home, he had a really good 4-game stretch. I think at LSU was his first game not being himself that he kind of had reestablished himself as an all-conference forward. I think it was great for us to see Fulkerson and Bailey play well, because, the freshmen got going. Josiah had found his role. Again, I thought Eve had a really good stretch. I thought it was important for John and DJ to really get their rhythm back as we head into the end of February and into March.
It looked like Fulkerson was playing with more energy and more confidence. Did you sense that as well?
Yeah, he was. We challenged the guards on the team, and watching film, all the opportunities that they could have gotten John or Eve the ball for easy baskets. Teams are keying in on John, and I like to tell them, it's not Fulky's job to be Carmelo Anthony in the mid-post isolation, post fadeaway game. Like, he has to get some easy buckets. And I thought the guys did a really good job of setting him up so he can score some easy ones. And then, he's still an extremely talented offensive player, but it's the job of the guards to set up those forwards for easy baskets.
Morning, Kim. Do you think
wow.
Hey, you said I had to be on camera. Do you think there was a potential upside this week for guys in practice, having guys sideline? I mean, just it seemed like VJ and Fulky really might have benefited from that and having more of a focus through practice.
Yeah, Mike, it's always good on any team, the next man up mentality, opportunity. I thought the guys responded great, more reps in practice. But more than that, Coach Barnes really just challenged and charged those guys to bring it, to bring it, to be aggressive, to go hard, to kind of establish who they are as players. And I think Jaden did a great job getting guys involved. I think Keon did, and I thought Fulky and VJ were just themselves. I mean, we talk about the guys setting up Fulky and Eve, but that also requires Fulky to run hard. And I think LSU in this game were the two hardest games he ran this season. Run in transition, run to the rim after screens, run to the offensive glass. Mike, are you one of our interns asked me to ask you if you were wearing pants.
I'm wearing Lulu pants because I knew that would be appreciated as well.
Dom asked me if you were wearing pants.
Dom could have not been creepy, but that's okay.
But Ben McKee, Grant Ramey, and Troy.
Coach, you've talked about how tight of a relationship you and VJ have. You talked about your one-on-one games last year when he was having to sit out. These last couple of weeks when he's been struggling, what kind of conversations have you had with him? And was it just as simple as boosting his confidence, or was it also a mix of taking good shots as well?
I've never really thought he was struggling until the LSU game. I think VJ is such a confident player because he's up there with one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. So I never really thought he was struggling until the 0-for-3 LSU game. When he shot an air ball against LSU, I knew something was up. And again, I really didn't even spend time worrying about it. We talked on the bus and on the flight home that night, and we just said, we got to get VJ and Fulky back going. And again, he does what he does. I sat next to him on the flight briefly, called him when we landed to Knoxville. I was driving home. He was going to TBA to shoot. The next morning, the next day, we have film. After film, he's in TBA shooting. Coach Barnes went out and just talked to him while he was shooting. I just sat on the expansion while he was shooting with one of our grad assistants or managers, and Coach talked to him, gave him some light words of encouragement, but nothing out of this world. VJ is a confident player. And again, I never thought he was struggling really. I just thought he had a couple of bad shoot nights. He was good at Kentucky. Who was after Kentucky? Georgia. He wasn't good against Georgia. I think he was 1 for 10 against Georgia maybe. But so yeah, he had a couple of bad games. And then last night was obviously a special night for him as a shooter and a player.
Kim, I know this whole season's been crazy, but from Sunday to getting the positive test to doing 3 straight days of testing, how does this week compare to the rest of the year, not knowing who you guys would have available this week and all the stuff, and then finding out on top of all that false positive?
Well, Grant, in COVID, every week is just, we Coach Schwartz specifically challenged our guys at the beginning of the season. He said that the team that standing at the end of this year is going to be the most resilient team. So our guys, no matter what, from the beginning of the season, we've had a pretty clean season after that as far as COVID is concerned. No positive cases since the beginning. Our guys have just taken everything we've asked them to do in stride. If practice gets pushed back, if the game gets pushed back, we have to drive back from Nashville after a game is canceled. If we practice, we play. The guys have been great. They've been resilient. They've come to work every single day, and it's really much not what you can do. You control what you can control, and they've done a phenomenal job of that.
Thanks, Kim.
Kim, going back to VJ, he's averaging about twice as many points as a starter than he is as coming off the bench, and shooting about 20% better when he starts. As somebody who played, is there such thing as a guy who's more comfortable starting right away than maybe coming off the bench? And as a coach, is that something y'all pay attention to?
I don't think so. And if it is something, it's something that our players are going to have to get over, because starting is, and a lot of times, is out of your control. If they want to play beyond college in the NBA, maybe none of our guys will be starters their first NBA game. I have no clue. Like they might start, they might not. That shouldn't matter. Your productivity when you get in the game is what matters. He also started. You said so. What he started 4 games in the non-conference. 4 of those 6 games were against teams that are probably outside of the top 200 in the net. Like, I don't know, but it's bigger than that. It's more important that I think VJ would have had the game he had yesterday if he started or came off the bench. His mindset was right. Coach had his back in a positive way. I'm happy with 4 assists, no turnovers. So yeah, starting, not starting, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. That's something that young players worry about. Who finishes the game? What rotation is what group? Like, everyone's so caught up in a starting 5. I'm more concerned with what lineups we're most efficient on offense in. What's our best defensive lineup? What's our best shooting lineup versus the zone? This is a great rebounding lineup, So again, I think that's for fans, that's for young people to worry about starting. I had a coach, Mike Anderson, said, I could start you and sub you right away.
Rob, Gustavo, and Jimmy Himes.
Hey, Coach Jaden, just how impressive is, I guess, the efficiency of his game for a young player? The patience that he shows. He got 16 points last night. He took 8 shots. He's had 5 or more assists the last 3 or 4 games. How unusual is the way he's playing for a freshman? The maturity, the efficiency he's showing.
Yeah, Rob, he's special. He's special. He's mature. He was a little under the weather last night, and to still play a really good, sound, efficient game. I thought he was running fast. I thought he was passing the ball well. I thought he was getting to his spots. He made a 3 like he's consistently done. He's a special player. He sees a different game out there, and we're really happy he's on our team.
Coach, with 2 regular season games scheduled and 1 that still has to be scheduled, with 3 games left in the regular season, what do you guys want to accomplish? What is the way you guys want to finish the regular season to start the SEC tournament and coming to March?
You know, we want to start it with being locked in on doing what we have to do against Kentucky here on Saturday, and then we'll worry about what's next after that. I don't think you can, and in this time, you can't look too far ahead. You know, we want to be playing our best basketball, absolutely, to finish this conference slate going into the postseason. But maybe it's a bad answer, but our focus is all on Kentucky, doing what we have to do to play those guys on Saturday.
Kim, you mentioned Kentucky. How much better do you think Kentucky is than its record shows?
They're a lot better. I mean, I think that there may not be a team in the country that have not lost more single possession games, but I'm not sure there's a team that has played as many single possession games as those guys. I mean, and when that happened, winning and losing, I mean, the bounce of a ball, the blow of a whistle, like the margin of winning and losing is so small. I mean, Arkansas, there's so many games. Last night, Vanderbilt, they've had so many games like that. And at the end of the day, as a coach that knows those guys from the recruiting process, and Coach Schwartz, who scouted those guys, when those names are being read off, and you know the ability that Davion Mintz and Devin Askew and Isaiah Jackson and Keon Brooks and Brandon and all these really, really, really talented players have, they are a much better basketball team than their record might suggest.
And then last night you had 26 assists on 32 field goals. 4 guys had at least 4 assists. Do you like that distribution of the assists by your team?
Yeah, I love it. I think Coach loves it. I think we all love it. Another game was similar to that was at Texas A&M, and that's, I mean, honestly, it's kudos to our guys, but on teams that are full body help teams, that's how it has to happen. The Lone Ranger drive to the rim buckets aren't going to happen against a Frank Martin, South Carolina team. They're sending 2 and 3 guys to the ball. If you think about some of the tie-ups that Eve and Keon might have had with the jump balls or whatever, they're conversion guys to the ball. So it's up to our guys to drive, to plan the post with their eyes up, playing solidly off 2 feet, trying to deliver perfect passes. We do something in practice called the assist game. And in the assist game, it's only, you only can get a point if it's an assist. Like, you can't dribble, take somebody off the shot and dribble and pull up. It won't count. And, sometimes we encourage guys to play the assist game. Last night with 26 assists looked like the assist game in practice.
Mike Wilson and Ben McKee.
Yeah, Kim, what has Olivier done kind of in the past month to earn a longer leash and a little bit more trust when he's out there?
He's been continually getting better for longer periods. I think the LSU game, he gave us really good minutes. And it was the first time he kind of, in a while, he looked settled into what he needed to do. And for us, that is run hard, that is screen, that is box out, and that is rebound. Give us a physical presence. Give Fulky and Eve a break. Use your athleticism. And he's done that. He's done that. And I thought a really good moment late in the game last night, Coach looked to put him in, and he pointed to EJ Anasicki, who hadn't played that game. I thought that was just a great testament to how special our guys are as teammates, or as most sophomores in that predicament that are just, I mean, he's on the back end of our rotation to point to a teammate in that moment to get those 2.5, 3 minutes. I thought was a cool thing.
Coach, speaking of kind of how special you guys are, Josiah didn't play last night, but he was in your ear all game long. Just how unique is that for somebody so young in terms of classification to kind of be an extra coach on the sideline? And how would you assess his basketball IQ compared to others his age?
It's off the charts. I was actually surprised to see him kneeling down there yesterday when the game first started, and I thought it was maybe just for the start of the game, but it settled in, and he was there all game. And hearing his talk, hearing his understanding of scouting report, I think it was a little bit of a cheat code because it was his state school, and he grew up playing against a lot of those guys. So his discussion, his talk of shooter driver, wants to go left, wants to go right, him sniffing out some of their play calls was it was really cool to see. I mean, he's going whispering stuff to Coach Barnes here, Coach Schwartz here. He's talking to the guys. It was really cool to hear his commentary during the game. I'm just curious. Now I would love to see it like that when he's out there on the court and in our huddles. He is undoubtedly the leader of our team. He needs to be. He needs to even take it to the next level to be more vocal and assertive. Like, in my opinion, this is Josiah James's team. They all respect him. Every single player on that roster has the utmost respect for him. He's the guy that he is the leader of this team.
Rob Lewis and Grant Ramey.
Coach, I know you said it wasn't your scout, but just I know you've seen Kentucky a lot. But I mean, what jumps out at you when you look at them on film? What concerns you about them when you match up with them?
Again, their talent is as good as anyone in America. A roster filled with very, very, very good offensive players, really good athletes. Keon Brooks had a career night against us. Devin Askew got going in a really good way. Isaiah Jackson is a one-and-done talent, freak athlete. Olivier Sarr made shots from the perimeter. I mean, they're a really good team. Coach Schwartz, he studies them great, and we'll talk about game plan and strategy today, but it's a rivalry game, and it means a lot to the kids on both sides of the rivalry.
Rick said he expects Josiah to be available Saturday. When did the wrist injury occur, and how much has that been bothering him lately?
Yeah, he heard it against Kansas. He went for a driving layup in the second half, and he fell right on his wrist. It's a shooting wrist. So again, he's been working every day with Chad and G and our doctors to get better.
We'll take a last call for questions. Go ahead, Grant.
Can we get a Kim English on the scout team update from earlier this week in practice? You still got it?
Buckets were had. IJ Poole, who does he does the score during practice. He was keeping my field goal percentage. Like, my makes were on the Tennessee side and my attempts were on the away side. So the guys were like, what do you keep looking up? Like, what do you keep looking up? What do you keep looking at up there? They didn't know I was checking my percentages. I think I was getting them up. Drew Pember, before we started, he told me to be ready to shoot. I was like, Drew, you don't have to worry. I think I may have been 5 for 15. I was getting them up.
What about Coach? You mentioned the Buckets. What about the defense?
We didn't play much defense. We were South Carolina's offense, and I was AJ Lawson. So he shot 20 shots in the game. So I did what I was supposed to do. We worked on their zone defense. So I may have actually subbed out when it was time for defense.
All right, let's finish up with Jimmy.
You're muted, Jimmy. You're muted.
Okay, sorry. Coach Schwartz said the last team standing would be the team most resilient. How resilient do you think this Tennessee team has been so far?
I think they have been resilient. I think they've responded to, I don't want to say failure or catastrophe. They responded to tough losses the way you'd want them to, right? They respond to LSU with a really good game last night. Responded to Alabama with, I don't know what was after Alabama, but what we need to do in the next step for this team is to handle success well. You know, to handle a really, really, really good win at Missouri, to coming home to Alabama, to understand that after you beat a team like Missouri and they come into your building, they're coming back with a vengeance and coming for something. And Coach Barnes is as good as I've ever been around at it. I mean, he can't spell the word complacency. No offense to his education, that's a pun. Like he's not complacent. He doesn't allow our guys to be complacent at all. I mean, he is always on edge. He always he had a great line early in this season. We had lost to Alabama, maybe, and we didn't play well. And I was like, hey, it's Coach, it could actually be a good thing for our guys. And Coach said, hey, I don't need my butt kicked to learn a lesson. And I thought it was a great line for he knows what teams are coming for. No matter if you've won 10 in a row or you whatever. So it's our guys being able to every single night keep taking it up a notch, keep taking it to the next level, never resting on your laurels, so to speak.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate